In the last video, we talked about kind of an introduction to what credit card processing is and answer the question of what is merchant services or credit card processing. In this short video here, I'm going to go over a few other terms that you're going to hear quite a bit in this industry. I'm just going to briefly go over them, and then we're going to get into a lot more in-depth discussions about them in future videos. Number one, the first thing you're going to hear about is debit cards versus, you're going to hear debit cards, check cards, and credit cards. You're going to hear those words, debit cards, check cards, credit cards. So let's talk about the difference between those. First of all of us everybody watching this video probably has a check or debit card. A check card or debit card is tied in to your bank account. So it's not a credit card because you don't need any credit to use it. You're just simply accessing funds that you already have in your bank account in the form of cash. Now, when you use that in this industry, when we talk about debit, usually what we're talking about is PIN-based debit. So when we say PIN-based debit, that means you swipe your card and you choose the debit option and you enter your PIN number. Now it's important to understand that because there are different fees that are charged when you use your card as a debit transaction versus a check card or credit card transaction. So when you're going into a business and you're choosing between those two options, understand that choice you're making makes a big difference for that business owner as far as what fees they're going to pay, whether or not you enter your PIN or you don't. So you have PIN-based debit transactions, then you have a check card transaction. Normally in this industry, when we talk about a check card, we're talking about using that bank card and swiping it like a Visa or MasterCard. You're using it like you would a credit card. And there's different fees for that as well. So you have PIN-based debit, then you have your check card where you're using your bank card just like a Visa, MasterCard, just swiping it through. And as we all know, most cards today can do that. Most bank cards can do that. As long as you've got a Visa or MasterCard logo on there, then you can swipe it as just like you would a credit card. You can select the credit option. The third type of card would be an actual credit card. These are cards that are not tied directly to a bank account, but those cards are actually having a credit balance on them. Now, there are three main types of cards, and then there's a fourth one that are used quite a bit. The three main ones are Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. Now, most credit card processing companies charge the same fees for all three of those as a general rule. Now, not always. Sometimes, be a little different for Discover, but usually, you have to talk to your credit card processing provider to make sure you understand their fee structure. But normally, they just include Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and that's because those are the three most widely accepted cards in retail and restaurant establishments. Now, the fourth brand is American Express. Now, American Express has its own set of fees. So we can, set somebody up on American Express and you can help them accept American Express, but the fees to accept American Express are significantly higher than they are for Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. Sometimes as much as twice as high to take an American Express transaction versus a Visa, MasterCard, or Discover transaction. So for that reason, many small business owners do not accept American Express. The only people that really use American Express exclusively are businesses. So if you're dealing with a merchant and they ask you, should I accept American Express? The answer is it depends on who their clients are. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, Italian Village Pizza, it's a pizza shop here in the area, and they actually do a lot of catered lunches to business clients in the area. So they have a lot of business clients that purchase, a $500 lunch from them, and they bring in all these pizzas and salads and everything. Now for them, I advise them that they should accept American Express because a lot of business clients, that's the only card that they'll use because of the rewards program for business customers that use an American Express account. And so I advise them that they should use American Express. On the other side, on the other flip side of that, I have a client right across the street here. Actually, it's a furniture store, and they actually don't ever really deal with businesses. They deal with residential homes, helping them purchase furniture, things like that. For them, I advise them, no reason to take American Express because, they're dealing with residential. And if somebody came in and said, I want to use my American Express, they could say, well, we don't accept that. And normally, 99% of the time, that customer is going to be able to pull out a Visa or MasterCard. And what's that going to do? Well, that's going to save the business owner a lot of money because, as I said, the fees are less for the Visa, MasterCard, Discover than they are for American Express. A couple other things that I touched on a minute ago, I just want to give you a real quick definition of here. Your gift cards. Gift card programs usually gift cards are not tied in with Visa or MasterCard or anything else. A gift card program is something that a small business owner or any business owner can have that is specifically for their business. So a person can come in. Most credit card processing companies have a gift card program. So you can usually offer that to your clients where when somebody comes in, they can purchase a card and then the business owner can load that gift card with a certain amount of money. They can put $20 on that card, swipe it through their machine, then give that loaded gift card to somebody who purchased it. Then someone else will come in and redeem that card. So gift card programs are very different because they don't go over the normal credit card processing networks. It's just a program that's for that particular merchant. And they have their own little gift card file that shows how much money is on all these different cards to use their gift card file. And then the second thing is electronic check processing. Now, I want to tell you about this because it's also very common. Many retail and restaurant businesses, especially businesses like auto repair companies, they like to use electronic check processing. Now, what does that mean? If I was a auto repair place and somebody came in and wanted a job done that was going to be $1,000, and they said, I want to write you a personal check for $1,000. Well, that would be kind of scary for me as a business owner because what if that's a bad check? I'm going to let them drive away and I'm going to accept their bad check. So many of these companies will use electronic check processing for two reasons. Number one, it's a lot more convenient. They can just run it through a check scanner and it converts it into an electronic transaction so they don't have to go to the bank. A lot of us might not realize how time consuming it is to take, 100 checks to the bank and create a deposit slip with all 100 checks. It's very time consuming. So it's better to actually have an electronic scanner. They scan it through there, pay a little bit of a fee, but it's for convenience. But the main reason is for the guarantee. Electronic check processing provides a guarantee for that check. So when they run it through that machine, the electronic check processing company is going to check on that person writing the check and make sure there's not a risk of them writing a bad check. And if there's no risk of them writing a bad check, they're going to guarantee that check. So even if it comes back insufficient funds, the business owner is still going to get his money. So there's a few terms for you in the credit card processing industry you're going to run into. And then as we get further into the training, we'll talk more in depth about each of these.